Ooh. There's a cutter hatch at the top here.
Oh!
I think we're cooked, brother.
Oh, no. Oh, Shelby.
I think we'll be safe here. Don't panic. Don't panic. Don't move.
Fuck, open the hatch, man.
The hatch is
Open the hatch,
open.
man. Oh, shit.
Oh. Open hatch, mate. I think we're safe here. Okay, we're going to jump straight into the Dune Awakening beta that was just available over this weekend. I've put about 20 hours into it. I'm going to give you my thoughts. I'm going to give you some straight up sort of gameplay, just how the game functions first. I'm going to do that first just so you can understand the game, and then I'll give you my thoughts on it, what I like, what I maybe didn't like, and hopefully you can make up your own mind as the sandworm goes through the rolling sand dunes. Okay, let's go. Okay, let me orientate you to the map and just how the game plays out. You'll notice it looks like an open world kind of map with these like outposts that you have to go clear, which is kind of one of the main loops. And there's different types of outposts and things you have to do with them. So, for example, there is this orange one here that is a cellar, or technically it's a cave, and this has the orange color, and it's all like Fremen technology. So when you go and have a look at things you might need to build, ignore my base. And everyone always makes fun of me for this stuff because it's always bad and I'm bad at base building, whatever. So like a medium blood sac, like it's to do with water. You have some of the Fremen gear that actually gives you water back. So, and it's all colored in orange. So all this stuff requires the materials at the orange sectors. And everything's color coded like that. So for example, all the green stuff, you'd be correct in guessing, comes from these green icons on the map. So these green icons are actually PvP zones. When you enter them, you get a notification on your screen saying you're entering PvP and you can kill other players there. The consequences are not huge. Like when you down a player, they drop some of the gear that's on them. But the more of the consequence is the loot like boxes in these PvP zones. Not everyone can pick them up. So even if you're in my team, if I pick them up, then you can't pick them up. You got to wait for them to like respawn, repopulate, whatever. I don't know what the timer is on that, but essentially the idea would more likely be kill the people there and then quickly loot everything and then get out. Not so much kill other players and take their gear, right? Because they don't really drop a hell of a lot. So that's, yeah, where you get green items. And so you will have to go to these areas and potentially encounter PvP even if you don't want to do PvP, because it is an essential component to crafting your weapons, and even like this armor all requires this plasteel. So you do need to go there. That being said, it's hard to tell like how populated the PvP is going to be. I only saw one person in 20 hours. It could be, I imagine when this game first comes out, it might be chockers. So some of this stuff could be a little bit harder to get. People have been very friendly in the beta, and didn't shoot me as well. Like I actually just spoke to the guy in the PvP zone, but I don't know what it's going to be like on release. Anywho, right. And then you would guess the next stuff, the blue items, they come from the blue parts of the map. Now these ones function a little bit different from everything else. The caves, and I'll show you a cave in a sec, is like 60 seconds. The hardest thing about the cave is like finding the entrance, and then it's quite literally a room or a couple of rooms, and that's it. That's the cave. You get the materials in there and you get out. These blue sections that give you the blue materials are closer to like a dungeon. You go down in them. It could take like 20 minutes, 25 minutes to complete. And as you get to harder and higher areas, like I went over here, and this one actually was really deep and took me like 25 minutes. And I was in like a team of 3 randomly. Just met up with a random group. They're like, hey, you want to help? I was like, yeah, I do, because I'm getting my butt kicked. And they helped out. Cool. So they're definitely more enjoyable. The blue Imperial testing stations to like a dungeon, essentially. And then you have these other things called outposts, these enemy outposts here. They give intel. These are just like an enemy outpost, like a large building, and they will give you what it's called intel points. So the way that you unlock your blueprints is you need intel points. I've got 28 spare intel points. You get intel points when you level up, but you also get intel points from clearing these outposts. There is an item inside that once you collect, you'll get intel points. And this is how you unlock your blueprints. So, you know, these are all water blueprints. So at the moment, we are locked into the iron products. We can't get steel products in the beta, but if I could get steel, then I could unlock this with my research points. I've got 28 and it's going to cost me 10 to unlock it. And this will give me the steel suit. If I want to get a wind trap, I would then spend 5 points to unlock that. And then now you can build it. You come back into your base. You open up your building tool. Right, 6. And then, you know, it will be in here for you to build, right, once you unlock the blueprint and you have the materials. Cool. That is the main sort of loop of the game and the map. Is you go through each section, and if you want to be a completionist, you complete everything. You get the materials you need from the blue, the green, the orange sectors, and you craft what you want, and you build up your base. Obviously, the big thing with this game is the sandworm and the dunes, getting across the sand dunes. Where I'm Australian, we say dunes, but sand dunes. I'll show you what that looks like now. Drive my vehicle across it. Other thing is these little areas essentially amplify the sandworm, so it gets aggroed quicker. So you can't really see these when you're driving along. So if you go over them by accident, you might put yourself in a bad position. Now, the big thing is, if you are killed by a sandworm, you lose all your gear, everything on you. It will wipe everything here and here, and you basically got to start again. You do get a consolation prize of a worm tooth, which you can make into one of those cool knives later on. It's a Chris knife. But you lose everything. It is very, very punishing. I spent many hours recovering after being eaten by a sandworm. Mainly because I lost my vehicle, and then I needed to make my way back to these blue segments to get the materials I needed to make my vehicle again. And so I had to hop between these little islands of rock to basically get there without getting eaten by a worm. So it does slow the progression down. I actually quite liked it. Made it a little bit more difficult. There is a thing that I was told, and I don't know if it's intentional or not, but the vehicle backup tool you don't lose. I can show you what that looks like with a vehicle backup. I think I still have one in here. Do I have one in here? Right. So you basically pocket your vehicle. So you can use this tool to put it away, or I'll bring it out. There's a couple real important reasons for this. Your vehicles will get destroyed by sandstorms. These sandstorms come rolling through the map. They kill you very quickly if you are not inside your home or inside a cave. And if your vehicle's left outside, it will get destroyed, which is why you got to park it in the garage. Otherwise, they get messed up. But what happened to me was I got killed by a sandworm. I lost my vehicle. I was in the middle of no man's land, and I was really struggling to get back to get my materials to make a vehicle again, which I think is kind of fun. However, this thing does save you from getting stranded, because I didn't realize I had it at first, that it was a possibility, because I didn't research it. It's like one of the top ones is this one here. I never researched it. Didn't realize it actually stores your vehicle for you. But what was happening was, when I was exploring, I was leaving my vehicle outside and it was being destroyed. And then I was left stranded, you know, on the other side of the map. And that's why I have bases everywhere, because I was just building bases. You can have 3 bases up at once as my like respawn center. What I was going to say was, when you get killed by the worm, you don't lose this for some reason. So what people have been doing is popping a vehicle in it like that, and then taking another vehicle and then driving this one around. And if they happen to get eaten by a worm, they've got basically another vehicle in their pocket to get back to base. Don't know if that's intentional or not, but that's how it functions right now. Essentially, the worms are pretty scary. You don't really want to start from the beginning again and have to get all your gear. So vehicles are the way you cross big distances. You can in the beginning cross small gaps, but as you get to these areas, you pretty much need a vehicle to get across. I'll show you what happens. There are different things that attract the worm's attention. Obviously, riding a vehicle is one of them. You'll see that the worm bar at the bottom, just near my vehicle, is getting angry. And if we keep just driving along, we're going to actually annoy it, and it's going to come out and try to eat us. You can upgrade your vehicle. Like, I've got boosters on this one, so I can boost and go a little bit faster. All right, this is that drum sound I'm going over. It's going to start agitating the worm, and we'll hear it pop out soon. See if I can get a look at it for you. Come on, wormy. Oh, no. Get outcrop. I think I'm safe here. Okay, well. There you go. That's what happens when you cross it, and then you get eaten by the worm, and you lose everything. And if you're on your bike gets consumed, and that is now gone, and you're cooked. Okay. I might just head back to base now, because this is not an area I really want to be in. Okay, let me show you some of the combat, and also talk a bit about the water system. So there's no like food that you need to eat, or you don't need to sleep in this game, but water is the main kind of like currency that you need to make sure you manage as a survival game. It's on the very left hand side, that little column. You can see that little blue column that's looking not very healthy right now. If that gets all the way down, I'm going to start dying, but I'll show you how this functions, and also do a little bit of combat so you can just see. I'm currently got one of those shields on. What's it called? A Holtzman shield. So this will stop bullets pretty well. Also stop knives, things that are moving fast. But if I get slow attacked, I'll get hit. But when I shoot, it goes off. Okay, then I'm vulnerable damage, and it comes back on. Cool. I've crafted that myself. You got to use power packs for a lot of things. So to mine, to use my shield, all this kind of stuff requires a power pack. I'll show you a little bit of mining as well. I chose the trooper skill tree to start off with. There are multiple skill trees. You can unlock other skill trees as you meet certain vendors and do bounties. So for this, I actually met the planetologist and actually got another skill tree unlocked. But when you first start, you'll just have one skill tree. You know, you can go the trooper. That's what I did. And it gave me a grapple hook and some anti-grav fields. And the grapple hook is really cool. And when combined with your, what's it called? I got the Emperor's Wings, your utility belt, which is the suspensor belt, which does this. When you combine them together, you can do things like this. Start flying around. Looks very cool. And then you can also do an air dash. Right. So as you level up, you'll unlock your skill tree. You can invest more points in and start crafting how you want to do some combat. And I'll show you what the combat looks like now. So this is an outpost, something I mentioned before. It's a little building. There'll be intel points in here. Yummy. Okay. Well, I wanted to keep that guy alive because I think he was one of the knife guys. Okay, he's a knife guy. Let me bring this guy out. So when you first start, the way you deal with the knife, because he's got a shield on himself, is you have to parry with right click or whatever it is on console, and then you hold down your attack button and you do a slow cut. You can do fast cuts, but that won't go through the shields. Just like the books or the movie, you got to do a slow attack to go through those shields. You can shoot them lots to get rid of them as well if you don't want to use a knife, because in some scenarios using your melee is really tough because you have a bunch of other people shooting you. I also have a grenade as a trooper, so I can throw that. I'm throwing grenades back. Don't know if I should give my thoughts on the combat and everything now. Look, maybe I'll just do it now. There's definitely aspects of this that are very cool. There's also a lot of it that doesn't look great. Looks a little bit underbaked. Looks like it needs a little bit more work. I think the best thing right now is to probably just judge for yourself. Does this look cool to you? Does this look fun to you? I think when you've got like the build, this SMG absolutely destroys, by the way. I think when you're building in your skill points, that's the part that's probably the most fun, and just how you implement this. I would consider like the enemy AI and enemy animations probably the weakest part of this game and I think you probably could tell that. Right, so I'm almost out of water right now. I put on this, a blood extractor, and I literally take their blood. I can go back to base and purify it into water, or I can take some sips right now. So it's gone into my blood pouch like that. There it is there. And I just press 5 because that's what it's assigned to, and I'll get my water hydration back. You get benefits for being more hydrated. However, drinking the raw blood also decreases your health. So ideally, you're meant to take all this blood back to your base, filter it to make water, and then bring water in a bottle with you rather than just drinking blood. I didn't play that way. I literally just fought everyone, took their blood, and dealt with the consequences of drinking the blood. Okay? In every little base, you'll find there'll be loot like this that you can pick up, and you start looting. Is that all there is to just thinking, is there anything else I need to tell you with combat? That's pretty much it. You've got your different skill trees. You level up, do your bounties to unlock different skill trees, and you can assign your abilities. You only have 2 abilities at once, and you can have 3 techniques at once, but some things will be passives. So like my techniques is I get a dash in the air, battle hardened, which it makes me not flinch, and center mass, I do more damage to bodies. My abilities right now is my grapple hook and my explosive nade. However, I will have, how do I go back up? However, I've got some of these which are called, that's a passive, cut array mining, so I get more resources. That's just a passive. That's not a passive, that's an ability. That's a passive. Vehicle repairs and passive skill. So some of these skill trees you want to unlock anyway, just so you can accumulate the passives from them. Okay, the last thing, oh, what is that? Okay, I don't think I've seen that before. Interesting. The last thing I want to talk about is the trading post. So there are a couple of trading posts throughout the map. Well, there's probably going to be more, but there's a couple available at the moment. You can roll up, you can park your vehicle in here if you don't have a way to store your vehicle. This will protect it. I believe this protects it from any storms rolling through, so your vehicle doesn't blow up. Similarly, if you come into the trading post and there's a storm happening, these doors will close. It's very nice. You won't get taken out by that. There's some story beats in here and characters to talk to. You do have like skills to do with like when you set up your character. Like I've got deception because I'm part of Harkonnen. Sometimes you get unique dialogue lines depending on who you're aligned with, and I don't technically know if that changes anything, but I've obviously seen it. But the main reason you'll come to your trading posts, apart from having some campaign story stuff, which there is in this game, is to pick up some bounties. So you have like a bounty board. I just handed one in actually. You can click here and go to your bounties, and when you complete a bounty, you know, you'll get some XP. In this case, this one gives me Harkonnen standing, so like my faction rep essentially, some money. Other ones will give you unique items. This chain will reward a unique tool at the end, so you might get like a blueprint or something from it, and you can go through and do your bounties, level up with the XP, get some money, and get some tools or weapons, etc. But that's the main reason you'll be coming to the trade posts. I believe there's a much more of that end game to do with factions. Like you can align with the Harkonnen, you can align with the other factions, and there's more like faction war PvP end game, but that is not available right now, and I don't know how it works. All right, so here are my overall thoughts about the game and the current state that I was in for playing the beta. Did I have fun? Yes, I did generally find it enjoyable. It was pretty nice chilling out, clearing a map, treating it like an open world game with other people running around, building a base. Very fun crossing the desert in a vehicle. I had a lot of fun. I actually found a buggy which you couldn't make yet and spent like 3 hours like dismantling this buggy in like a dungeon, bringing it out, making a secondary base, driving this thing across it. Like, yeah, I made my own fun often. I met players in the PvP zone. We went on little getaways together, little adventures together. Like, I did have fun. Was it the most fun I've ever had in the video game? No. I mean, it is hard. I've just come off the back of Expedition 33, which I think is a fantastic game, and also Arc Raiders, which I highly recommend too. You know, people have been asking if I like it as much as Arc Raiders, and they're not really a fair comparison because they're way different games and different genres. But you know what is a fair comparison? Your money buys all of them. So where would you spend your money right now? I mean, it depends what kind of games you like. I would only really be recommending this game if you are super into survival games and you play a lot of survival games, you love survival games, because this goes through a pretty typical pattern that you see in every survival game. Like, hey, copper, steel, copper, iron, steel, you know, increasing technology. There's something satisfying about doing that. There's something satisfying about base building if you like that. There is a lot of satisfaction with this world. I think they've got that really down pat. The music and like backing track or like ambiance, the worm, the sandstorm, the fact that they made a desert interesting, I think is all good. Like they did that pretty well. And there's more story here than you would expect in other survival games. However, I did encounter some bugs, mostly with just like cutscenes and like visual bugs with things popping in and popping out, like armor not appearing, then appearing or reappearing, or seeing through the floor or stuff like that. Some UI bugs, like compare stats wasn't working, which you think is probably pretty important to be able to compare stats of like weapons and stuff and armor. You have to just like mouse over them. So there's still some things you would really hope are going to be polished out before release. I think the combat I wish was better, because I think this would really bump it up to being my more favorite survival game, because it does have like guns in it rather than just like medieval or magic, and but it's not quite there. The enemy AI, the enemy animations, I think look pretty outdated. The fun really comes from the skill tree and using your skills in different ways. And I think if you start thinking about the game like an MMO, which originally they called themselves an MMO, but I think they've got moved away from that branding. But if you just think of like MMO enemies, like they go, oh, there's a player, walk up to them, stab them. There's no super intelligence there. It's really like, is your gear better than their gear? Then you can probably beat them, right? That would probably be my main criticism of the game. I don't think it's bad. I don't think it's great. I really want to see how the end game progresses. That's the big question mark. It's very hard to review a survival game with only 20 hours, because this stuff takes a long time to get through to really see if the game develops or kind of gets stunted. And for me, probably the bit that might push me over to really want to get this game and invest in it is probably the PvP side and the faction war side and the end game side, because apparently there is a zone where it's like PvP is enabled all the time. I'm not too sure if you can raid people's bases there or not, but this is where it's like spice wars, I think, and you know dedicate yourself to a faction, and there's a bit more PvPing going on. So I kind of need to know what I'm working towards, and I don't know what that is yet, and that's why I don't recommend it. If you see people who have tested it or the developers talking about that end game more, pay more attention to that, because I think that's probably the bit I want to learn a little bit more about. All right, there's my thoughts on Dune Awakening. Releasing next month, I believe, June. It's not far off. All right. If you like the channel, like the video, like to support the channel, you can leave the comment, Dune Awakening. I'll see you next time. Bye-bye.